We've not written for 30 days. For 30 days, we've not been here in our tunnel. We had been caught. It happened that night when we wrote last. We forgot that night to watch the sand in the glass, which tells us when 3 hours have passed and it's time to return to the city theater. When we remembered it, the sand had run out. We hastened to the theater, but the big tent stood gray and silent in the sky. The streets of our city lay before us, dark and empty. If we went back to hide in our tunnel, we would be found and our light found with us. So we walked home to the home of the street sweepers. When the council of the home questioned us, we looked upon the faces of the council, but there was no curiosity in those faces, and no anger and no mercy. So when the oldest of them asked, "Where have you been?" we thought of our glass box and of our light, and we forgot all else, and we answered, "We will not tell you." The oldest did not question us further. They turned to the two youngest and said, and their voice was bored, "Take our brother Equality to the palace of corrective detention. Lash them until they tell." So we were taken to the stone room under the palace of corrective detention. This room has no windows and is empty save for the iron post. Two men stood by the post, naked but for leather aprons and leather hoods over their faces. Those who had brought us departed, leaving us to the two judges who stood in a corner of the room. The judges were small, thin men, gray and bent, and they gave the signal to the two strong hooded ones. They tore the clothes from our body, and they threw us down upon our knees, and they tied our hands to the iron post. The first blow of the lash felt as if our spine had been cut in two. The second blow stopped the first, and for a second we felt nothing. Then the pain struck us in our throat, and fire ran in our lungs without air, but we did not cry out. The lash whistled like a singing wind. We tried to count the blows, but we lost count. We knew that the blows were falling upon our back, only we felt nothing upon our back any longer. A flaming grill kept dancing before our eyes, and we thought of nothing save that grill, a grill of red squares, and then we knew that we were looking at the squares of the iron grill and the door, and there were also the squares of the stone on the walls and the squares which the lash was cutting upon our back, crossing and recrossing itself in our flesh. Okay, so he's starting to lose it here. If you have not already, this would actually be a great time to open up the assignment for 6-7 and answer the multiple choice questions as we read it. What, Miss Leggett? We can do that? Yes, you can do that. Okay. When we saw a fist before us, it knocked our chin up, and we saw the red froth of our mouth on the withered fingers, and the judge asked, "Where have you been?" But we jerked our head away, hid our face upon our tied hands, and bit our lips. The lash whistled again. We wondered who was sprinkling burning coal dust upon the floor, for we saw drops of red twinkling on the stones around us. He's never seen blood like this before. Like, he doesn't know what it is. Then we knew nothing save two voices snarling steadily, one after another, even though we knew they were speaking many minutes apart. "Where have you been? Where have you been? When have you been? Where have you been?" And our lips moved, but the sound trickled back in our throat, and the sound was only, "The light, the light, the light." Then we knew nothing. Okay, he's passed out. He holds up pretty good under torture, yeah? We opened our eyes, lying on our stomachs, and the brick floor of a cell. We looked upon two hands lying far before us on the bricks, and we moved them, and we knew that they were our hands. But we could not move our body. When we smiled, then we smiled, for we thought of the light and that we had not betrayed it. We lay in our cell for many days. The door opened twice each day, once for the men who brought us bread and water, and once for the judges. Many judges came to our cell, first the humblest and then the most honored judges of the city. They stood before us in their white togas, and they asked, "Are you ready to speak?" We shook our head, lying before them on the floor, and they departed. We counted each day and each night as it passed. Then tonight, we knew we must escape, for tomorrow the World Council of Scholars is to meet in our city. He has a remarkable sense of time under torture. So, let's make some predictions. equality is beat to a pulp right now, and he still wants to go before the World Council of Scholars. They were already going to be like the mean girls, like, you can't sit with us, before he got beat, and he thinks he's going to be able to go here, look at the way he does, and present his information and be taken seriously? We'll see. So start making some predictions. What's going to happen when he goes to the Council of Scholars? It was easy to escape from the Palace of Corrective Detention. Wait, what? The locks are old on the doors, and there are no guards about. There is no reason to have guards, for men have never defied the council so far as to escape from whatever place they were ordered to be. Oh. This is a question in your assignment. Why was it so easy for him to escape? It says that men have never defied the councils. I guess, what do they do with teenagers? I don't know. Our body is healthy and strength returns to it speedily. We lunged against the door and it gave way. We stole through the dark passages and through the dark streets and down our tunnel. We lit the candle and we saw that our place had not been found and that nothing had been touched. And our glass box stood before us on the cold oven as we had left it. What matter they now, the scars upon our back? Tomorrow, in the full light of day, we shall take our box and leave our tunnel and walk through the streets of the home of the scholars. We shall put before them the greatest gift ever offered to men. We shall tell them the truth. We shall hand to them as our confession these pages we have written. We shall join our hands in theirs, and we shall work together with the power of the sky for the glory of mankind. Our blessing upon you, our brothers. Tomorrow you will take us back into your fold, and we shall be an outcast no longer. Tomorrow we shall be one of you again. Tomorrow. Okay, prediction time. How do you think this is going to go down? Is he going to be successful or not successful? Yes. This whole paragraph is puppies and rainbows and maybe candy and Christmas morning and all the hope in all the world. And then chapter 7 starts like this. Are you ready for it? It is dark here in the forest. How did it go? Check your prediction. So he was in the tunnel planning to go to the council of the, present his findings. And then his next journal entry starts. It is dark here in the forest. Let's see how it went. The leaves rustle over our head, black against the last gold of the sky. The moss is soft and warm. We shall sleep on this moss for many nights, till the beasts of the forest come to tear our body. We have no bed now, save the moss, and no future, save the beasts. I love the difference between the hopefulness of this paragraph and the utter hopelessness and despair of the way chapter 7 starts. Totally different. Okay. We are old now, yet we were young this morning. Is that a song? A Cardi B song or something? We carried our glass box through the streets of the city to the home of the scholars. No men stopped us, for there were none about from the palace of corrective detention, and the others knew nothing. No men stopped us at the gate. We walked through empty passages and into the great hall where the World Council of Scholars sat in solemn meeting. We saw nothing as we entered save the sky and the great windows, blue and glowing. When we saw the scholars who sat around a long table, they were shapeless clouds huddled in the rise of the great sky. There were men whose famous names we knew, and others from distant lands whose names we had not heard. We saw a great painting on the wall over their heads and 20 illustrations about men who had invented the candle. 20 dudes invented the candle. All the heads of the council turned to us as we entered, and the great and wise of the earth did not know what to think of us, and they looked upon us with wonder and curiosity as if it were a miracle. It is true that our tunic was torn and stained with brown stains which had been blood. We raised our right arm and we said, "Greeting to you, our honored brothers of the World Council of Scholars." Then Collective, the oldest and wisest of the council, spoke and asked, "Who are you, brother? For you do not look like a scholar." "Our name is Equality," we answered, "and we are a street sweeper of the city." Then it was as if a great wind had stricken the hall, for all the scholars spoke at once, and they were angry and frightened. A street sweeper walking in among the council, the World Council of Scholars, it is not to be believed. It is against all the rules and the laws." But we knew how to stop them. "Our brothers," we said, "we matter not, nor our transgression. It is only our brother men who matter. Give no thought to us, for we are nothing, but listen to our words, for we bring you a gift, such as never been brought to men. Listen to us, for we hold the future of mankind in our hands." Then they listened. We placed our glass box upon the table before them. We spoke of it, and our long quest, and of our tunnel, and of our escape in the palace of corrected detention. Not a hand moved in that hall as we spoke, nor an eye. When we put the wires to the box, and they all bent forward, and still watching, then we stood still, our eyes upon the wire, and slowly, a flush of blood, a red flame trembled in the wire. Then the wire glowed. But terror struck the men of the council. They leapt to their feet, they ran from the table, and they stood pressed against the wall, huddled together, seeking the warmth of one another's bodies to give them courage. We looked upon them and we laughed, and we said, "Fear nothing, our brothers. There is a great power in these wires, but this power is tamed. It is yours. We give it to you." Still they would not move. "We give you the power of the sky," we cried. "We give you the key to the earth. Take it and let us be one of you, the humblest among you. Let us all work together and harness this power and make it ease the toil of man. Let us throw away our candles and our torches. Let us flood our cities with light. Let us bring new light to men." But they looked at us and they suddenly were afraid, for their eyes were still small and evil. "Our brothers," we cried, "have you nothing to say to us?" Then Collective moved forward. They moved to a table and the others followed. "Yes," spoke Collective, "we have much to say to you." And the sound of their voices brought silence to the hall and to a beat of our heart. "Yes," Collective, "we have much to say to a wretch who has broken all the laws and who boasts of their infamy. How dared you think that your mind beheld greater wisdom than the minds of your brothers? And if the councils had decreed that you should be a street sweeper, how dared you think that you could be of greater use to men than in sweeping the streets? How dared you, gutter cleaner," spoke Fraternity, "to hold yourself as one alone and with the thoughts of the one and not of the many? You shall be burned at the stake," said Democracy. "No, they shall be lashed," said Unanimity. "There is nothing left under the lashes." "Till there's nothing left." "No," said Collective. "We cannot decide upon this, our brothers. No such crime has ever been committed, and it is not for us to judge, nor for any small council. We shall deliver this creature to the World Council itself, and let their will be done." We looked upon them and we pleaded, "Our brothers, you are right. Let the will of the council be done upon our body. We do not care, but the light. What will you do with the light?" Collective looked upon us and they smiled. "So you think that you have found a new power? Do all your brothers think that? No. What is not thought by all men cannot be true," said Collective. "You have worked on this alone?" asked International. "Many men in the homes of the scholars have had strange new ideas in the past," said Solidarity. "But when the majority of their scholars voted against them, they abandoned their ideas, as all men must." Wait, what? So we're getting a glimpse to this Council of Scholars. It sounds like at some time there used to be some pretty smart people on there. And then when they make a discovery, the council's like, no, I don't believe that. No. And then they abandon their ideas. This is why they're still using horses and candles. "This box is useless," said Alliance. "It should be Should it be what they claim of it, said Harmony, then it would bring ruin to the department of candles. The candle is a great boon to mankind, as approved by all men. Therefore it cannot be destroyed by the whim of one. This would wreck the plans of the World Council, and without the plans of the World Council, the sun cannot rise. Hold the what? Without the plans of the World Council, the sun cannot rise. What is it these people are learning? It took 50 years to secure the approval of all the councils for the candle, and to decide upon the number needed, and to refit the plans so as to make candles instead of torches. This touched upon thousands and thousands of men working in scores of states. We cannot alter the plan so soon again. What? And if it should lighten the toil of men, then this is a great evil, for men have no cause to exist, save in toiling for other men. What? That's not true. Do you agree with this? Do you agree that, you're only alive to toil for other people? I have a feeling some of these are gonna come back on the final. Then Collective rose and pointed at our box. This thing must be destroyed. All the others cried as one. It must be destroyed. Then we leapt to the table. We seized our box. We shoved them aside, and we ran to the window. We turned and we looked at them for the last time, and as rage, such as not fit for humans to know, choked our voice in our throat. You fools, we cried, you fools, you thrice-damned fools. We swung our fist through the window pane, and we leapt out in a ringing rain of glass. We fell, but we never let the box fall from our hands. Then we ran blindly, and men and houses streaked past us in a torrent without shape, and the road seemed to be flat before us, as if they were leaping up to meet us, and we waited for the earth to rise and strike us in the face. But we ran. We knew not where we were going. We knew only that we must run to the end of the world, to the end of our days. Then we knew, suddenly, that we were lying on a soft earth, and that we'd stopped. Trees taller than we had ever seen before stood over us in a great silence. Then we knew we were in the uncharted forest. We had not thought of coming here, but our legs had carried our wisdom, and our legs had brought us to the uncharted forest against our will. Our glass box lay beside us. We crawled to it. We fell upon it, our face in our arms, and we lay still. Thus we lay for a long time. When we rose, we took our box and walked into the forest. It mattered not where we went. We knew that men would not follow us, for they never entered the uncharted forest. We had nothing to fear from them. The forest disposes of its own victims. This gave us no fear either. Only we wished to be away from the city and from the air that touches upon the city. So we walked on, our box in our arms and our heart empty. We are doomed. Whatever days are left to us, we shall spend them alone. And we have heard of the corruption to be found in solitude. We have torn ourselves from the truth, which is our brother men, and there is no road back for us and no redemption. We know these things, but we do not care. We care nothing for nothing on earth. We are tired. Only the glass box in our arms is like a living heart that gives us strength. We have lied to ourselves. We have not built this box for the good of our brothers. We built it for its own sake. It is above all of our brothers to us, and its truth above their truth. Why wonder about this? We have not many days to live. We are walking into the fangs awaiting us somewhere among the great silent trees. There is not a thing behind us to regret. Then a blow of pain struck us, our first and only. We thought of the golden one. We thought of the golden one whom we shall never see again. Then the pain passed. It is best. We are one of the damned. It is best if the golden one forget our name and the body which bore that name. End part 7.